Hi everybody. Trying to catch a quick walk on this hot but gorgeous 80-degree day, 88. It's supposed to go up to maybe 90 today, which I think is amazing. I love the heat. I'll take it any day over the winter. Only thing I want is the snow, and then I want it to disappear. I like the snow because it looks pretty. Hey, I'm chilling with a duck who happens to be on the deck. So anyway, I'm reaching in real quick. My phone is acting a little stupid right now. I got to get a lot of stuff off the phone. So anyway, I'm reaching in because I wanted to have a little sidebar conversation. I thought was really important to address because, you know, with flexing comes resistance, and I have had a bit of it lately, a few challenges that have certainly tested my resolve. Hey Corey, how are you? How you doing, sweetie? Long time. So I was just getting ready to have a little sidebar conversation. I was saying that sometimes when you're doing things that go against the norm, you get resistance. Sometimes you go against the norm, or you're going with the norm, and people are just fighting you. They're not fighting you for any particular reason, but just that they want to argue with you. Sometimes their position is completely opposite of yours. So that's why I came on today, because there's been a couple of incidences that have taken place of recent, both in conversations and online debates and discussions with me and other people, as well as discussions with me and with others that I've been observant of. And hey, how are you? How you doing, Wayne? How's everything been? And Maurice. So I'm glad you brothers are on, because I'm going to start this conversation with an observation. And my observation is that as the pressure builds and things get more intense, and each of us is determined and willful and committed to trying to make changes and bring forth some ideas and solutions and ways to resolve the attack, the systemic attack against black and brown people, and the attack against, LGBT community, Muslims, Hispanics, of course, brown as well, and women. I think it is more important than ever that we come to an agreement amongst ourselves and collectively that anyone who is in this fight with us to win, whatever form or fashion that it comes in, it is the same fight. I am seeing infighting, and I am also experiencing infighting, and I'll get to that in a minute. And I am also communicating with many people who are frustrated and confused and feeling hopeless and angry and indifferent and bitter, even to the point of not being able to move outside their own rage, move away from their own rage long enough to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture for all of us is we have to come together and fight this shit. We have to be on the same page and agree that no matter where we differ, we all have the end goal. And that's to get the T-Rump idiots out of office, as him and all of his sick, perverted, white supremacist, backward, old school, whitehead mentality, son of a bitches out. We have to take back our courts. We have to take back our police department. We have to take back the judicial system. We have to take back the prison system. We have to take back our communities. That is where we stand. That is where we mutually agree. And that is where the discussion needs to remain. That is where we need to put our focus and our energy. And anything else that comes up that's conflict, for instance, is a conflict when I have a young black sister who happens to have gotten a degree in engineering, who made a choice to go into caregiving because her mother was in respite and take care of her family. and has, as a result, fallen on hard times, who now believes that it is a hopeless situation. My energy and every single one of our energies out there needs to be focused on those types of people. Those are the people that are going to be involved in the next vote. Those are the people that are going to be retaught and are going to understand how to lift themselves and their communities up. Those are the young people who she can speak eloquently. She can preach off the same books, the same authors, the same philosophers, the same geniuses and leaders that I can or you can. But she fell on hard times, and in doing so, she has become a pessimist. And she has taken on the attitude of hopelessness. And she has taken on a defeatist mentality. Our energy, regardless of where we are in class, regardless of the shade of our skin, regardless of our belief system, our ideologies, our practices, at the end of the day, if we cannot mutually agree that our battle is one battle, and that's to make sure that we are never, ever, ever taken back to the days that we have to think about the punch bowl, which is currently happening right now as we speak with the immigrants. And if it can happen with the immigrants, it sure and hell can happen with us, where they put a cage around a whole bunch of us and leave us to die where we stand. And that's what they're doing right now with the immigrants. So I'm a little pissed. I had a conversation with one of our sisters who communicates regularly and is involved with a lot of things in grassroots, and very politically inclined, very dedicated to the church, the community, and all that. And she and I got into a heated discussion about subjects, and what it all comes down to is we fail in every sense of the word if we can't agree, regardless of the shades of our skin, regardless of our ideologies, and regardless of where we come from in this struggle, that when someone wants to jump on that bandwagon and support you, you support them. And when someone has a difference of opinion and where you are in that position, you still agree you have one common goal. So I'm not going to beat that part to a dead horse, because I want to get on to another part of it. It's not just about the fact that we are divided in class and economic status. It's not just the fact that we're confused about whether or not diversity is relevant or segregation is relevant, which I just had a debate, a little minor debate with the brother about, because the brother wanted to challenge me on the fact that I lived in some kind of fantasy that we could all together come together and cumulatively figure out how to address the subjects or the issues at hand. And I agree with none of us. That's the stance I take. For those of you out there who want to push and endorse and go forward 150% with self-sufficiency, I am 150% down with that. And I am 150% down with anyone who stands by diversity and inclusion. Because the reality is that this world, whether we like it or not, is more gray and more multicultural and more rainbow coalition than it's ever been, thanks to us. Thanks to brown and black people. So for us to live in some kind of fantasy that we're going to be able to just eradicate what is currently is kind of a little bit delusional to me, although I was accused of being delusional. But the point is I said to the brother, and I want everybody to understand this, the freedom riders were of multi-ethnic background. They came from colleges and universities in the North and went to the South and ended up dying, fighting for something that was right. There are going to be sacrifices along this journey. We've already had sacrifices. We've already seen the people who are dying, the young people who are getting murdered in the streets as a result of us wanting to stand up and take back what is justifiably ours. So why in the hell would we be fighting amongst each other? Why in the hell would I have to get into a debate with a brother about whether or not I have the right thinking mind as a woman, as a black woman? And whether or not I'm living in some kind of fantasy land because I happen to believe that we cumulatively and collectively together can push back against this system. And no no matter what form or fashion it comes in, as long as we are on the same page and we are organized and we set out a plan and we put together a vetting system for every one of the current systems that is in place, and we screen in the same way that they just wiped out 300, they just investigated 300 police officers and found that all of them were in chat rooms. Xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, white supremacist, and one organization went in and checked out that police department and realized that there were 300 all racist or deflecting in some way, showing negative tendencies towards the very people that they intend to protect. Now, when we have that kind of issue going on in one police department, what's happening across this entire country? Our focus needs to be on doing more of that in policing departments across the nation. Our focus needs to be in fixing that problem. Because if we can't fix the young woman who believes that there's no hope in this system, and help her believe that her vote matters, and help her believe that we can change the system, and we can't come together mutually as black and brown people and agree that our women and our men equally have something to contribute to the solutions. And even those, whether you all believe it or not, those white people who are on the same bandwagon as us, who 150% believe, most are silent. And I disagree with that. And I've called them out, and I will continue to call them out. But the ones that are not silent, I don't have energy and time to throw stones at them. There are too many enemies out here within, and there are too many enemies on the outside coming at us to attack the ally. I am an ally. You guys are allies. Every single one of you out here that is busting your asses, showing up every day, doing the grassroots movement in any way, shape, or form that you can is an ally. And we are not in a position right now to weaken our base by attacking one another and dogging each other and criticizing each other and frowning on one another. And going back to that whole enslavement mentality of it's us against them, brown or dark against light, rich against poor, her against him. I mean, it is an insult and it is a vexation to my spirit, because I am fighting like hell to get everybody on the same page of consciousness, just being conscious, just being woke. I don't care what shade they're in. I have no problem telling my Indian families, you're black, or my Hispanic family, you're black. So get on the bandwagon and stop hiding, because your Hispanic family is over there locked up in cages right now. I don't have a problem telling my brothers, you're wrong if you're being misogynistic, or you're wrong if you're coming down too hard on somebody that differs in you in belief. And I certainly don't have a problem telling a brother that comes in to tell me that I am some delusional, panty-wearing, fantasy, flower clipping idiot, that I don't have a voice any more than I have my conservative Hispanic friend telling me that I don't have a right to choose what happens to my body. I'm not going to get into these petty little arguments with everybody. I'm not going to get into these antics, these little petty disagreements. I am not going to spend my energy on that. I am going to spend my energy on solutions. And I am imploring every single person out here to put your energy there and only there. And if you don't have anything nice to say, you know the saying, don't say nothing at all. Keep your 2 cents to yourself. But this is not the time for infighting. This is not the time for judging. This is not the time for attack. We Democrats, you progressives, you liberals, all of you conservatives that are going left and right and trying to figure out where you want to be in this whole big issue of attack, you all need to go quiet and introspective, and you need to make peace with whatever those inner struggles are, especially checking the ego at the door. And that is not directed at one particular person, because there's a whole lot of people that I have had conversations with who love their egos, and they're putting their egos way up at the top. Way at the top. It is not directed at one particular person. I was I was so offended, I had to check my ego and say to the brother who was attacking me as a woman and remind him that I am the neck. I am the neck by biblical standards. I am the neck, and I hold the head up. And the neck connects the body. So remember that when you want to attack a woman. Remember that when you're frustrated because you can't attack the dominant ideology, because the dominant ideology will shoot you in the head or in the back for speaking out against them, that you want to turn around and attack one of your women and beat her down for being different or disagreeing with you or being too strong or being too independent or being too vocal or being too passionate or being too outgoing or being too friendly or being too smart. That's just the subject related to women. That has nothing to do with all the other intricacies of where we are struggling. So I am imploring everybody. I cannot say this enough. We have one agenda only. Get T-Rump out of office and ensure that these conservatives' base are weakened quickly, swiftly, and as aggressively as they came in and took over and just created mayhem and effing chaos in this country. They are stripping us down. We are all wide open and exposed right now, and we are not in a position to be disagreeing each other or attacking each other. Or you have an argument, go behind closed doors and do it. You have a disagreement on a subject, do it behind closed doors. But right now, the people who are in leadership positions and the people who are showing up every day and the people who are out there fighting and trying to educate and trying to be inclusive and trying to support the change, these people are being watched. Everyone out there is being watched, not only by the enemy, but by the allies. They're looking to us for direction. They're looking to us for guidance. They're looking to us for solutions and answers and tools and weapons so that they can go back and build their families back up and make themselves strong, financially, economically self-sufficient, psychologically self-sufficient, emotionally and spiritually self-sufficient. There is no time for it. There's no time for it. So to my brother who wanted to find fault in my flowery, delusional mentality, I honor you, and I honor your struggle, and I honor your pain and your suffering. And I can't imagine as a black man waking up every morning and seeing your brother shot in the street and shot in cold blood and having the life suffocated out of them, or watching your women beaten down into the streets and bloodied up and having your babies dragged off to jail. As a man, because I know what I feel like as a woman. The politics right now speak. I just pulled up some research about the women right now and our contributions. And I stand corrected because when last time I spoke, I said something about I have not seen millions of people do a march in this country. Guess what? Millions of women took to the streets when Trump was voted into office. Millions. You rest be assured, gentlemen, your women are ready to fight to the death to protect their children. They are ready to go to any means necessary to protect their children and protect the future of this country and to protect the environment and the water and Mother Earth and everything else. We have more women in Congress now than we've ever had in the history of the United States of America. It is more diverse now than it has ever been in the United States of America. All shades, all sizes, all ages. They're coming strong. So for the men who want to resist the women, get on the same page. Everyone has probably seen, and this is just a silly little sidebar, Derek Jackson. He's on all the time talking about relationships, and he's on all giving advice about marriage and relationships and the dynamics and interpersonals and what to do and what not to do. And he happened to pop on today, and he said something about, he's popping up all the time, and he popped on and he said something about, that the new way of doing things racially, not racially, but in relationships is that, everyone's sharing the struggle. We're sharing the bills, we're sharing the household, we're sharing the dinner, when we go out, we're sharing everything. The economics of today requires that. And if we're lucky, our men and our women across the board are on equal playing fields economically, and both bringing in enough to do so. And he went on to reference that this is not a time for us to do anything but lift up your fiery, feisty female by complimenting her, educating her on something she's not already educated on, and challenging her to be the best that she can be, and holding her up at the end of the day, because she is out there helping hold down a family, or hold down a roof, or hold down a community, or hold down a society. So the same would go for my counterparts, my females. This is not the time to be a bloodsucker. This is not the time to be critiquing and judging and stripping a man down because he has a voice, or because he's impassioned about a particular subject related to this, or because he has to face the realities of what's going on in this country every day. We have to be sensitive to each other more than ever, because we're all in a fragile state. We're all in a vulnerable state. We may not be talking about it. We may not be expressing it, but we have to go through the daily pains, the daily struggles, the daily hurt, the daily rejections, the daily challenges, the hardships, the hurt, the pain, the heartbreak, the grief from loss. We have to go through all of that and then still get out there and fight the good fight. We have to hold each other up. We have to hold each other up. So when I get to a point where I'm raising hell about everybody get on the same page and just get your shit together, that's because that's where I'm at. No more of this bullshit. No more of this infighting. We don't have the time. I watched a video, a lengthy video that I also posted about what's happening within the VA, the Veterans Administration, and how our government came in and there were things that were written that they had planned on doing in terms of changing the rules and the regulations that hadn't even been signed on. And they were forcing out all the good guys. And they were forcing out every single person that had the courage to do what was right by the veterans as it related to their medical and their care. And there were a whole gang of people who were out to shut the good guys down. Shut the good voice down. Well, you can call it the devil, you can call it dark, you can call it the enemy, you can call it whatever you want. But all it comes down to is that when you look at the videos that we are posting, if you look at the corruption in the police system, if you look at the corruption that's going on in corrections, and the brutality and the brutal treatment of people in inhumane treatment. I mean, in fucking humane treatment of our people who we have fought for the rights. We fought for how many years to preach and teach civility. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to let our soldiers die who would fight for our country and have fought for our country, regardless of the color of their skin. And then we'll turn around and every person who we want to call a whistleblower, as if there's some negative connotation to that, we're going to try to put under the bus. We're going to try to imprison. We're going to try to stifle their voice. We're going to try to shut them down. And then we have the audacity to be fighting with one another right now over black and white, up and down, left and right, hot and cold. Oh, no. No time. No time. So I've been on the soapbox long enough. I always go for a tangent. You all know me. I go much longer than I need to. But the psychology of us is that we're damaged from years and years and years and years and years and years and years of attack. You have to take into consideration that in the same way that we have suffered shock treatment and abuses for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, Okay? We're now demanding and insisting that everything in this system change. And I, for one, believe it can, even though the brother said I'm delusional. But the only way that's going to happen is if all of us agree we can. And all of us get on the same page and say, hell to the effing yeah. I don't care whether you're white, whether you're Indian, whether you're Spanish, whether you're black, whether you're orange or you're purple. And all of us cumulatively together, the brown and black, whatever shade we come in, if we all agree that we can change the system from the inside out and that it requires grassroots movements as well as from top down movements, we will change the system. There are efforts underway. There are models in place. There are tools that are effective. The Veterans Administration is currently doing hearings to ensure that those whistleblowers are protected. There are people and there are policies and bills and laws being put out there that are only going to pass if we show up and stand by them. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. And the reason I put the negative in the feed is because I want everybody else to keep it real. I want everybody else to see the truth and stop burying their head in the sand. That's why I put it. It's painful. It's difficult. It's hard for me to do that. I don't get to go in a corner and lick my wounds indefinitely. Just like you and everybody else, we got to go out there. We got to make a living. We got to keep our heads strong. We got to hold it together. We got to stay positive, presumably positive for our families, for our parents, for our loved ones, for our children, for our partners if we have them. And somewhere along the way, some of us are going to fall short. But until we get on the same page that we are responsible for our attitudes and we are responsible for how we treat ourselves and honor ourselves in relationship to the people to the left and the right in front of us and behind us, we will remain in the place we are and we will continue to fail and we will continue to fall short. The last election, we were divided. The last election, many of us didn't even show up and vote. Our responsibility to ourselves and this country and our communities and our families is to ensure that every single one of us gets out there and votes. And every single one of us is educated enough to understand who the players are and who the best man or woman is for the job. And you can rest assured right now, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens right up until 2020, day of election. And if there's any corruption, and if there's any shady business as it relates to voting booths or any kind of gerrymandering, I'm going to educate people about that. And I'm going to encourage us to go out and push back against it before Election Day. This is not, in the bag. Yes, I'm terrified because of the extent of the corruption. Because this government appears to be almost disregarding the law. Any of the laws that have been placed they're finding every loophole in the system to come against us and to try to change business as usual and strip us of our constitutional rights. We have only ourselves to be responsible for that. As the people, we are the government and we have the power to change it. So I will not engage. The only time I will engage in a discussion about a particular issue is to tell you that I'm not going to fight with you. I will hear what your argument is. I will listen carefully and sensitively and try to stand in your shoes because you have your own story and you have your own pain and you have your own struggles. That's my responsibility to someone who differs from me in opinion. And I will ask each of you to have the same. And I would rather you show up than not at all. Truthfully, I would. I would rather that we have more talking points, that we have more people showing up in the feed, speaking live, that we have more people showing the videos and more people bringing accurate media to the forefront. I would much rather that. And I appreciate discussion, intellectual discussion, but not criticism. Because there's no energy or time for that. We don't have time to be criticizing one another. Not when it comes to, like I said, whether or not I have my idea of integration or attitudes about segregation and integration somehow don't align exactly with yours, or not because somehow my practicum as a non-believer to a believer makes us completely at odds with one another when we both have the same agenda, or not when whether or not a woman has a right to choose, or we should hold firearms. I never said we shouldn't have firearms. I said we need to have laws as hard and as harsh and as strong and as strict as other countries to protect our children and to protect our families and to ensure that the mentally ill and those with a past history of anti-anything do not have access to those guns, and that the most dangerous of weapons are off the streets. That's what I said. And I said choice because if we don't have choice as women, when you're trying to tell us that we are the most powerful voice and you want us all to be your friends when it comes to voting time, well, you damn well best believe that I'm going to tell you that I have a right to choose what happens to my body. So don't get into the nitty-gritty with me about that, because there's no reason for debate about it. It's really not open for debate. If you are a person who believes that it is morally incorrect to treat the immigrants the way they're being treated, or morally inappropriate to shoot innocent black men and women and children down in the street when they don't have a weapon and they're not a threat, that's what I want to have a conversation about. If you want to come with me or discuss with me solutions, or you want to provide education to people about what the myths are and the lies about history, I'm on that bandwagon with you 100%. But if you just want to come in and say, I disagree with you just because, and give me no tangible evidence or arguments or facts to back it up, why even debate me? Why spend my energy and time on that? So anyway, I've said enough. I think I've gotten my point across. For all of you all who came in late, it's all in the beginning. I tried to explain my position as much as I could. Remember right now, we have nearly a third of our Congress is women. We're in this fight. We're not going anywhere. We want to see change for the better. And for any of you brothers that want to take that away, or strip us of that voice, or challenge us, or insult us, please, no time, no energy, really. For all of you out there, brothers that want to do that infighting, if you guys are on the same page that you want to heal your community, stay focused on that, and forget all the rest of the bull crap. But don't judge me. Don't judge me when I come from a place of believing that there's hope for us healing if we're committed and hardworking and dedicated to that healing. And don't judge each other for it. And like I said, each one teach one. Raise each other up. That's all we got to do. Just raise each other up. Have that dialogue with those people who feel hopeless. Ensure that they are registered to vote and make sure they get to the voting booths. Give them a hand out or a hand up if you deem it necessary or worthy of them. But this is it. We gotta get focused. And I pray, I believe, I pray to Allah, to God, to Source, to Buddha, to everybody under the sun, Mother Earth, that all of this shifts and it goes back in the direction it needs to be going in for the better. That's where I'm at. So, I posted something, and I specifically posed this to my pro-lifers. I don't care whether you are a conservative or you're a Democrat. There was a young woman who was tased in the jail because she was exhausted and she couldn't get her tongue ring out, and they tased her and she had a miscarriage. If you are going to imprison women for having abortions, you damn well better put into law imprisoning those correctional officers for murdering that unborn child. On that note, that's the kind of argument I have. What goes for the goose is good for the gander. Peace. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Everybody stay cool. Carry lots of water around with you all because it's hot out here. It's really, really hot. But it's a beautiful day, like I said. I can't really see everybody because there's a lot of light. Hey, Crystal, how's my girl doing? I hope you got to connect with my cuz. Tina, how you doing? Hey, Tisha, how you doing, cuz? I love my cousins. Vincent, how you doing? David, hey, long time. You've been quiet. Hope everything is good with you. And happy birthday. Cousin Paul, love you too. Rain, how's it going? I mean, all you guys, I can't see that well. Russell, everyone's always, you guys are always showing up and you always have my back, and I appreciate your consistency. Like I said, don't judge a book by a cover. You have no idea what my story is from day to day and week to week. And I certainly don't know what yours is. And, we can all walk around with our poker faces on and show up and act like there's not a care in the world, and that there isn't all kinds of stuff going on in our hearts and our heads behind closed doors. So, let's try to be a little more sensitive to one another. Please, let's just really try to be more sensitive to one another and focus on the matters at hand. Solutions to these problems and how we are going to heal cumulatively and collectively. Our black and brown communities, first and foremost, are on my heart and my head because we are under attack. And our larger scale communities, our governments, our states, and of course the country. And getting rid of all this negative seedy, nasty, vile, disruptive shit that's here. We can't put our energy there. We can't put our, I'm sitting on the water right now. It's calm. If anybody ever wants to take a few minutes, go in and look into YouTube about water as an energy source and how water responds to words, and how water responds to positive versus negative, and how it changes shape and form, and even ice and the crystals and how they do the same. It's powerful and it's an awakening. We're 90% water. We're 90% water. There's more negative than we ever imagined coming at us right now. When we know that the negative is coming from outside, we certainly can't be giving it to one another. And we really, really, really need to be cognitive of that. We really do. All right. Again, that was my sidebar for today. I felt my spirit had to say it. I had to raise some hell. I had to get on the same page with everybody and express from my heart where I was coming from. Thank you again, Maurice, Corey, and my cousin Roy, and all the others that Rico, I haven't seen you in a while either. And to those who I haven't spoken with, I'm sorry that I haven't been able to chat with you. Hope to have a conversation soon. And for those of you all that I see every day, you'll see me soon, well, usually by social media. And just keep your heads up, guys. Keep your heads up. Stay positive, stay focused, and don't let nothing or no one kill your end game. No one. All right. Peace, peace, peace. Let me just give you guys a quick view of where I'm at. And that's it. Sorry, I don't know what happened, you guys, but I lost the feed for a minute. My battery is going dead, so I'm going to sign off before I can't save this, okay? Have a good one, you guys. Have a good one. Have a good one. Bring lots of water. Bye.